Alright boys and girls, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to discuss the geometry of chipping. And whenever you're chipping, or at least when I see most public golfers, recreational golfers chipping, the biggest issue I've found is you just don't use the right technique. And a lot of it is you just don't understand how chipping works and how the inertia of the golf club will affect your path and your release. So essentially, we're all taught to play a chip shot from the back of our stance. This is a 60 degree, by the way, which is my preferred club of choice. I prefer the 60 degree because I feel like it's versatile. I can forward shaft lean, I can reverse shaft, I can do a lot with it, and I'm just very comfortable using only one club. But I'm a field player, you know, you might be different. You might be the type that chips with a pitching wedge, but the same rules are going to apply. So one thing that I see a lot of people doing is they take the club away and they rip it way to the inside because they allow the toe to take over. And then from there, it's all hands, eye coordination, timing to hit the shot. And if they're on an uphill or a side hill slope, that changes everything. So, you know, in short, I think what you're looking for when you're chipping is to be on plane. And I think a lot of people, if they understood how to get on plane with chipping, it would help a lot. So hopefully I can turn this into a 1 minute, maybe a minute and a half short, but here's the idea. I've got 2 grass clumps up there and we're going right at my camera. So you're gonna get 2 different points of view here. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to show you what happens if you allow the club to do stuff, and then if you set your plane up and how it affects the difference in your shots. So if I were to just set this club up normal, and I were to play it just in the back of my stance, and I were to square everything off, and I were to take that club away, it's going to be way to the inside, and then the inertia is going to want to go rightward. And what happens is that imparts topspin, like so. Now the ball rolls out, and it's not a very good shot. It is controllable if you have a lot of green to work with, but if you don't, you know, you're going to get yourself in a bind. You're going to have a lot of 8 to 12 footers for par, and you don't want that, especially simple uphill chips like this where you gas it just a little bit and you got a knee knocker, right? 6-8 footer. So the reason why people tend to do that is because they don't understand that you actually want to chip the ball by slicing it, and that's an exaggeration, but essentially to be on plane with a chip shot, you have to actually pull the club leftward. And what's really interesting, I want you guys to notice, even though I'm swinging down my foot line, notice how the toe keeps the club in line with my plane and allows me, even though I'm going leftward with my body, it allows the toe to stay on line. And so what I want you guys to start working on is opening your stance and finding where that point is, that when you swing down your feet, the inertia of the toe keeps it on plane for you. So let's see what this looks like. I'm aiming just between those grass clumps. Look at that, go in the hole. So if you notice, that grabbed a little bit. And the reason for that being is it was on plane. So even though I felt like I was doing this, what in reality happened is it came on plane. The club actually interacted with the face of the golf club properly. The friction, you had the full face, all the grooves to work with, and so it imparted spin on the ball, and that's what you're looking for. Anytime you're hitting a chip shot, you really do want to put a little bit of spin on it, guys. It allows you to be more aggressive. So how do you train this, I guess, would be the thing that I think a lot of people would struggle with. Like, what do I do when I go to the practice range to ingrain this? Well, here's how I learned how to do it and how I recommend you do it. The difference is roughly, we'll call that 20 to 30 degrees, okay? So if we're aiming down this alignment stick, our feet should be set to this alignment stick, and our shoulders should ride up and down this alignment stick. And the reason for that being is because, again, there's toe inertia. So as I take the club back, if I want to keep it on plane, I have to be opposing that force with my body. And it looks a little something like this. So again, we're playing this back of the stance, typical standard chip shot, weight on the left side, and then we're just going to rock our shoulders down this alignment stick. Let's just see what that looks like if we allow the toe to do its thing. And notice, that came out dead straight down this alignment stick. Isn't that weird? It's pretty interesting, right? So for those of you that are struggling, this is probably what you're doing. You're setting up to hit it this way. You're coming to and far from the inside and you're blocking it to the right. Or you're trying to time it and you're getting very handsy and sometimes you thin it like that. And then every now and then you catch it real good and it stops on a dime and you're like, man, these greens are really inconsistent. But that's not what's going on, guys. You are off plane. In other words, if I were to set up like so and I were to make the same chip, watch what happens to my plane. And notice it rolls out. It doesn't check. It has no ability to do that. Because you are imparting a right to left action on the golf ball, which essentially puts right to left spin on it. And it might put a little backspin on it, but for the most part, you're going to be putting topspin on it. But what happens when we open our stance, we get this thing on plane, and we swing down our foot line, it checks hard, and now we have control, and we have a 2-footer, okay? Now I understand the other one got even closer, but that had more to do with just my natural ability than the actual technique. So go work on this, guys. Get your alignment stick set up. It's gonna feel really weird at first. You're gonna feel like you're gonna hit it way out into right field, but what'll happen, like I said, everything will offset. So as you swing down your foot line, the inertia works itself out. That might have gone in the hole if the other ball wasn't there. The inertia works the rest of it out, and then you have basically a balancing act where forces oppose forces, it all negates each other, and the club comes in perfectly on plane. And you could play with it even more, you know, like open it up even more, try 70 degrees, you know, and then see what happens. And notice it comes out just higher, so softer. So now you're going to start learning how to change your shots around the green because you're on plane. And if you notice when you do that, when you start opening it up like that and you're facing the club towards your target and you're about to swing down your foot line, what happens? You feel that you're going to cut across it. So now I know I'm going left, so you're going to develop more feels this way, etc., etc. So that's the drill. Let me know what you think. Like, comment, subscribe, guys. I've got a ton of this kind of stuff. We'll get more into chipping, out of the rough, hitting flop shots, all that stuff as we go along. But this is basically chipping 101, so I hope you enjoyed it.